And welcome back. Well, when it comes to what we should eat, there's so much information out there. Protein, though, is an important part of our diets. But are you getting too much or not enough? When should you eat it? And are some sources better than others?
There's so much to think about. Maria Viall is a certified holistic health practitioner and nutritionist. She is here with more on this. A lot of questions because you read so much, like eat it in the morning, don't eat it here, drink it with water. I mean, there's so much out there. So first of all, protein's just very important, right? Building blocks.
Yeah, it's the building blocks of our body. People think of it, you know, a lot of people think of it in regards to muscles, right? And maybe nails and hair. But what I think a lot of people don't realize, it has a lot to do with your immune system and even your nervous system. So protein is very important in regards to getting it in on a daily amount in the right quantities.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about protein deficiency before you break this down. What are signs that you're not getting enough protein? So people listen up, if this is something that you're experiencing, maybe you're not eating the right amount.
Right, so let me clarify and say a lot of people eat enough protein.
Okay, most people probably, right?
Most people probably eat too much protein.
Okay.
But they have a problem digesting it or absorbing it, and a lot of that has to do with your stomach acid.
Okay.
But there are definitely people who show signs of deficiency in protein, and I tend to see this more so in women and like vegetarians and vegans. But signs of it are a constant craving for carbohydrates. Like, I'm not talking about having like a little sweet tooth, but like constantly needing carbs. Like you could eat a whole jar of peanut butter.
Okay.
Or having trouble sleeping, broken nails and dry hair, moodiness. Those are some really good signs that you may be protein deficient.
All right, good to know.
Yeah. You've talked before about complete proteins, and some foods in themselves are complete proteins.
Right.
But what do we need to understand as it relates to that?
Well, complete proteins include all 9 essential amino acids that your body does not produce. You have to get it from the outside.
So an example of that is?
Of an essential amino acid?
No, of a complete protein.
Oh, complete protein. Those are going to be all mostly your animal-sourced proteins. So meat, fish, eggs, dairy. The other one would be like a soy. Again, that's more of a plant protein. But yeah, all meats, eggs, fish, dairy, those are going to be your complete protein.
And there are vegetarian options.
Yeah, like, well, dairy is considered vegetarian. You know, vegan options would be more so soy, and I'm a little bit, soy is something that you have to be careful with, absolutely, with certain types and how much you have.
So those are complete proteins. These are vegetarian options that have 9 essential.
No,
right?
These are incomplete proteins.
Incomplete.
So they have some, they either have all 9 essential amino acids, but not in the right amount.
Gotcha.
Or not all 9 essential amino acids.
So these are still good for you, but
Absolutely.
they're not a complete protein. So break them down. You have here,
you know, the incomplete proteins, but still good protein sources are going to be your beans, your legumes, your lentils,
avocado,
whole grains, avocados, nuts, seeds. You know, things like sprouted bread is a good source of incomplete protein, but you have to combine these together to make a complete protein.
With each other or with another category?
With each other. I mean, you could combine this with a protein source, but let's say you want to have a meatless meal or you're a vegetarian or a vegan. Combining 2 of these, and I always say a good thing is like a whole grain and like a nut and a seed. Combine those together. Their complexes together make up the 9 essential amino acids.
I like that you broke it down with some examples of ways that you can eat protein at a meal where you get enough protein, which is somewhere between 15 and 25 grams for most people, and you combine it with something where you can get that. So if you eat here 2 or 3 eggs.
Right, and again, these amounts will vary. Usually I would tell people if they are protein deficient, you want to be looking more 25 and upwards to 30, but these will be different for each people. But yes, if an egg has about 7 grams of protein per egg, and so 2 or 3 of those would be about 21 grams. And again, these are just like the big sources of protein. If you say have that with a piece of sprouted bread, you're getting even more. But I'm showing people that this is one aspect that you kind of need to focus on. What's my source of protein? A palm size of salmon, chicken, meat. This is anywhere between like 23 and 30 grams of protein, and again, a complete protein.
Okay, Tiff's not a fan of salmon.
Yeah, a little
disgusting. That's why it's far away.
Move that one again.
Okay, 2 pieces of, this sounds like a great breakfast too. 2 pieces of turkey bacon, half an avocado, a piece of sprouted bread, a half cup of oats, let's say a half cup of kefir with it, and some hemp hearts in it, 2 tablespoons.
Now that's 2 different ones, but that would be a heck of a breakfast. But no, the oatmeal and kefir with the hemp hearts. Now hemp hearts, Hemp
is
hearts
this one?
have a high amount of protein in them, and they're a really great source of omega-3 fatty acids.
I don't know what a hemp heart is.
They're the little things sprinkled on top there.
It's the dark flavor?
It has a nutty flavor, yeah, absolutely. But a really great source of protein, the oatmeal and the kefir really bring this together. And you know, the thing with protein...
These dark things are the hemp hearts?
Yep.
Oh.
Thing that people don't think about with protein is when you're not satiated in a meal, if somebody comes and like, I have a really hard time, I'm hungry by 10 o'clock in the morning, I ask, what was your protein? And typically that's where they're struggling, is not having that protein to carry them through.
Hard-boiled eggs for breakfast are like the best breakfast.
Well, they come in like their own little container.
So good.
It's so easy.
One thing I love is beans and rice, and you say a cup of black beans with just a cup of cooked brown rice, and you put a little avocado on top for a healthy fat.
Healthy fat and a little bit extra protein in that too. But yes, that is that kind of the classic vegetarian whole complete protein is the beans with rice. But again, that could be any kind of bean, that could be any kind of rice, but it's a grain with a legume.
Quinoa with some pistachios. I love this idea for a lunch. Half a cup of goat cheese, some spinach, and a tomato sandwich on sprouted grain.
That looks
really good. That's a great lunch
And
right
25 grams, I mean, for just that sandwich. So if you think about adding anything else to that, you're going to be getting enough protein at your meal.
Not a
People
fan
are
of
afraid of sprouted bread, but it's really good.
Yeah, if you don't like it plain, toast it. It's marvelous toasted.
Yeah, it is really good toasted.
You're not a huge fan of like protein powders, but there are some good ones. There's some whey protein concentrates, grass-fed, and vegan protein powder. Really quick, bad sources of protein that we should watch out for.
So fried meats, broiled meats, char-broiled meats. In general, you want to look for grass-fed, cultured, organic when you're looking at animal source protein.
And protein with every meal, you say.
Protein with every meal. It doesn't always have to be meat. I always encourage people, mix it up. Get different sources of protein because they're all going to have a different profile so that you get more nutrients and more variety.
And the reason not to have fried, charred, or broiled is it because it can be carcinogenic to the body.
Exactly. And the same with soy. You want to make sure it's a fermented soy. So tempeh or miso, you want to be careful because that can affect hormones.
All right,
go to
the
Maria's
edamame and check.
Yeah, go to Maria's website to find out more information, including how you can work with Maria, mariaviall.com/protein to find out more about everything we talked about today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.